Buongiorno a tutti i nostri cari amici. My name is Giovanna and I welcome you all to my kitchen on the cliff. Today we're going to make something very, very special that is not well known to Italian Americans and even to many Italians. It's called Torta Ferrarese, and it is a marvelous, I can't call it a cake, it's really a confection that comes from the city of Ferrara. And it was made for me by my cousin Vana Muccio long ago, one time for my birthday, and I absolutely fell in love with it. So today's video is dedicated to Luisella and Gianfranco, my dear cousins in Italy. The Torta Ferrarese distinguishes itself in the fact that it is made with freshly made, uncooked egg noodles. And these egg noodles are layered with a mixture of almonds, amaretti, and sugar and butter, and placed on a crust. So I will take you step by step so that you could make a wonderful torta ferrarese yourself and introduce your friends to something really, really special and unique. This morning, I went shopping at one of my very favorite places, Arthur Avenue in the Bronx. I went to Borgatti Noodles, and Chris Borgatti himself cut these noodles for me so that they would be absolutely fresh. So I rushed home, and here I am making the torta ferrarese. I also had a lovely gift from Felix, who makes these wonderful garments on Arthur Avenue with all kinds of sayings. This is my new Arthur Avenue apron, and I love it. Thank you. The almonds and the amaretti come from Teitel Brothers, and if you can't find it in Teitel Brothers, it probably doesn't exist. I asked for amaretti. What kind of amaretti? He said, I want Amaretti di Saronno because they're the best. Of course he had Amaretti di Saronno, and here we are. The recipe for torta ferrarese is in my book, The Cooking of Emilia-Romagna, including the recipe for the noodles, which at a future point I'll do so that you can see how that is done. If you know how to make egg noodles, make your fresh egg noodles. My cousin Vana would approve of that. In fact, when I asked her for the recipe for this wondrous cake, she wouldn't give it to me because she said, no, because you probably are going to use your Braun machine to make the noodles and they have to be made by hand. Well, I agree that made by hand, very fresh and used right away, that's the best. But those of us who do have a machine can do it at home. Or if you have the good fortune of having a good pasta place near you, go there and get their angel hair, and it'll be perfectly fine.
So what do you ask for when you went to pick those up?
They will cut your noodles at Borgatti in any form or shape. So this is angel hair, the finest, the thinnest. We're going to start by making the flaky crust. Before that though, I'd like to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, Babbel. Babbel is one of the top language learning apps in the world, and it's perfect for learning Italian or any other language you're interested in. My daughter has been using Babbel to review her French, and she's feeling more confident than ever in her joie de vivre. One thing I love about Babbel is that the lessons are designed by real language teachers, over 650 of them. As a former language teacher myself, I know how much discipline it takes to practice a language. But that doesn't mean that you can't have fun doing it. The app is user-friendly and fun to use, which makes learning a language that much more enjoyable.
Le lasagne vegetariane.
Le lasagne vegetariane.
Babbel offers a 20-day money-back guarantee for users who decide it's not the right fit. Just write to the customer service within 20 days for a full refund. If you'd like to give Babbel a try, click on my link and get 60% off during Babbel's Black Friday sale. Download Babbel today and start learning. Let me know in the comments below what language you'd like to learn and why. Thank you again to Babbel for sponsoring today's video, and let's get back to making our torta ferrarese. So I'm going to do it in the food processor, but you can do it by hand as well. We're going to start with flour, sugar. The butter is going to be cut into the flour and the sugar, and we're going to pulse it into the flour and sugar. We're going to add a pinch of salt. I'm going to pulse the butter and the flour. I'm going to add the 2 egg yolks. Don't throw away the egg whites, add them to your breakfast. Make fried eggs and add 2 egg whites. Next, we add the lemon zest. The zest of 1 lemon. You can smell the lemon. The volatile oils are doing their job. Of course, you'll put this away and you will use it for something else. Let's add some wine. Be sure to add it 1 tablespoonful at a time because you very quickly get to too much. Right, now let's pulse again. And you want to pulse it until it comes together. The dough is done. Knead it a few turns. This is enough for 2 tarts. So we're going to divide it in half and cover the piece you're not using so it doesn't dry out. I'm going to roll it out. I'm flouring the dough. You can use a pie plate for this, or you can use a rectangular dish. I kind of like the rectangular baker because it's easier to cut this into a square than to cut it in a wedge. So that's just my preference. Plenty of flour so you can roll it out fairly thinly. The way you transfer the dough from the table to a pan is you fold it over your rolling pin and you place it. Now we're going to fit it. Don't stretch the dough, just pick it up and let it fall into the bottom of the pan on all sides. Just fold it and fit it down. Let it fall into the bottom of the pan. 1 more, and then, if it breaks, you'll just fix it. Okay, so now we can cut off the excess. I use the outside of the pan as a guide. Take the scraps and just patch. So we lined our pan with dough, and now we're going to make the filling. This is a little residue of flour, but it doesn't matter. So these are the almonds, 2 cups of almonds, 1 cup of sugar. Now, a word about the amaretti. Amaretti come wrapped in 2s. So we need 8 of these, which will yield 16. See, this is the package, the way they're packaged. There are 2 per package. We want these coarsely chopped. We don't want powder. So I'm going to pulse. Okay, now I'm going to add the amaretti. So we're going to continue pulsing. Okay, you pulse until you have large crumbs. If there are still any whole almonds, give it another pulse. This is how the filling should be, right? The almonds should not be very small. They should be like cut in half. If some are a little bit more than that, don't worry. Mix it. Make sure that the sugar is combined with the amaretti and the almonds. So now we begin. We had a tablespoonful of flour and sugar reserved for the bottom of the pot. So I'm going to take 2 tablespoons. So now we make a layer of noodles. Look how beautiful these are. These noodles are not cooked. These are fresh cut noodles, right? We have a layer of noodles. We're going to need 2 layers of these, of the filling. Another layer of noodles. It already looks good. It smells wonderful. I wish you could smell it. All right, we're going to put another layer of filling. and a final layer of noodles. So now we're going to top it with that lovely melted butter. So I'm now pouring the melted butter over the whole thing. And this is a stick of butter. Yes, this is luxuriously buttery. Okay, now I'm going to turn the dough onto the filling. This little trick of folding the dough over makes it much easier to make the portions later. All right, this is ready for the oven. So this is going into a 350-degree Fahrenheit oven, and it's going to bake for 30 to 45 minutes. Look at it after 30 minutes, of course, and the top layer of the noodles should be very lightly browned and crunchy. That's one of the features. In the absence of a powdered sugar duster, we're going to do it this way. Una pioggia di zucchero. We're giving it a shower of powdered sugar. Okay, this comes out of the container very, very easily, you see? Okay. Well, now you know how to make torta ferrarese. It doesn't really conform to eating with a fork. I think this is something between a cookie and a confection, and it's perfectly fine to pick it up with your hands. Buon appetito!
Altrettanto.
Grazie. Okay. It's delicious. You taste the almonds and the sugar and the butter, and these noodles on top are crispy. It's just a wonderful thing. Now that you can make it often. It's worth all the trouble.
If you're already a subscriber, thank you. We enjoy reading the comments that people make. If you have not already subscribed, do consider subscribing.
Thank you so much for watching. Ciao!
Ciao.
Alla prossima volta! Ciao!